So many people will not agree with what I'm about to say, but it remains the truth. Hausa man has suffered more in Nigeria than any other ethnic group. Hausa people have suffered more injustice in Nigeria more than any other ethnic group. Hausa man has suffered more injustice in Nigeria than any other group, and any other ethnic group in Nigeria. You see, the Igbo people usually say they are being marginalized, know this, especially after the war, after the civil war, Nigerian Biafra war, that Igbo people have been marginalized, Igbo people have been done this, Igbo people have been done this, Igbo people have done this. But the truth is, the Hausa man has suffered more in Nigeria more than Igbo people. There is injustice everywhere. Every ethnic group have suffered one injustice or the other. Even the Yoruba, the TVs, the Biroms, Calabas, every Niger Deltans, every Nigerian has suffered one injustice or the other in Nigeria. But that of the Hausa man is bigger. And let me tell you, there is poverty everywhere in Nigeria, but the poverty in Hausa land is bigger, is worse than in any other southern part of Nigeria or any other place. There is also mass illiteracy. That is people who did not go to school, not go to usual normal school or Western school in the whole of this country, but it is worse in Hausa land. You understand? So, do you think it is by accident that this thing is worse in Hausa land? It's not by accident. It was designed to be so. People made it to be so. People denied the Hausa children school. There are out of school children in everywhere in the country. Nigeria has about 20 million out of school children. That is children who are supposed to be in school, but they are not in school. About 20 million. I can tell you that about more than 10 million of these are in Hausa land. You think it's just like that? You think it just happened? People made it to be so. It was not accident. And I will tell you how it started. The British first started that thing. Because when the British arrived in Nigeria, they discovered that there were already a lot of educated people in southern Nigeria. And then, because they were educated, it was difficult for the British to control them. The British could not apply indirect rule in the south. So, because there are a lot of people who were educated, because they are educated, they are already opposing what the Obas, the Ezes, or the Obong, the whatever chief, whatever king you have in the south, people were already opposing them. When they talk, they say it's a lie. They can talk to the king in his prison, it's a lie. Everybody was more of his own authority. So the British found that very, very disturbing. They had to start ruling every person. They had to forcing every person to start obeying their rules. Now, when you go to the north, the Fulanis had already conquered the Hausa kingdom, and then they find emirs. So everybody in the north was already obeying we are already obeying the emirs. You understand? Everybody were obeying the emirs already. So the British said, okay, since this we already have people, they all obey their emirs. Whatever the emirs talk is the law. Nobody dares to oppose an emir, the Fulani emirs. So what did the British do? They said, okay, they talked to the emirs, and then the emirs did not oppose them. The emirs agreed to work with them in ruling their people. So the emir said, okay, the British were like, okay, now we are going to be ruling every person, including the Hausa people. The Hausa people, we're going to be ruling them through the emirs. So we give law, the emirs tell them, but they must obey the emirs. So it wasn't easy. It wasn't difficult for them to control the Hausas, because they were ruling them through their emirs. So the British were like, okay, now the problem we have in the south is because the south were educated. They already have access to Western education. So they were educated. So what we are going to do to these people is that we are not going to give them Western education. Do you now see? So they said no, we're not going to give them Western education. So that they will not become problem to us. They will not open eye and discover that what we are doing is bad. What we are doing through the emirs or what the emirs are doing to these people were bad. So they stopped giving them Western education. They stopped the missionaries from coming. Even the missionaries stopped the missionaries from going to the north so that they don't open their eyes. So you find out that these things were designed. It wasn't by accident. And it has existed even till today, it is still existing. Because after the British left, it continued. And it's now just was today. You understand? So it is still on even today. I want people who can think, how is it on today? Tell me. I know why, how, and why it's still on till today. But tell me, because you can see that the Hausa people have ruled Nigeria more than any other. Sorry, the Northerners have ruled Nigeria. The Fulanis have ruled Nigeria more than any other tribe in this country, more than any other ethnic group. But still, the Hausa man is still the poorest. Hausa man has the richest person in Africa, but he still also has the poorest people in poorest ethnic group in Africa. Why? Now, the Fulanis have ruled, that is the North, have ruled Nigeria more than any other ethnic group. Yet the Hausa man still the poorest in this country. Why? It was designed. It was designed, and to make it worse, Hausa man can't even be king in his own land. Tell me another tribe that suffered that. Tell me where in Igbo land where they say they have suffered more. They are the kings there. They have the governors there. Hausa man can't even be governor. Hausa man can't even be president in his own land. Hausa man can't even be king. You have emirs, Fulani emirs, not Hausa emirs, not Hausa kings. So which other person have suffered this? Okay, so this thing has continued till today. Tell me how. I want people who can think. Tell me why it's still like that till today. Tell me like that in the comment section.